right, welcome to the That's Good Sports Podcast. I'm Brandon Perna here with Will Keys, and we are desperately praying that our internet connection holds. We have a podcast for you today. A lot of NFL news happening very quickly today. Myles Garrett suspension upheld by the NFL. Garrett claims Mason Rudolph used a racial slur. The Patriots are thinking about maybe bringing Antonio Brown back. And then, of course, we'll get into our picks for this week. A lot of football stuff to talk about. Something we both noticed this last week, though, Will, was that, like it or not, O.J. Simpson is providing the most level-headed takes on football on the internets. So he probably had the best take about the initial Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph helmet conundrum. And we both saw his video he posted to Twitter. He does these little videos where he reacts to NFL things that happen, and he does it in a very calm sort of manner and provides insight as a former player while also, I don't know, making you hate yourself for agreeing with O.J. Simpson.
Hello, Twitter world. It's yours truly.
All right, take care now. He's like,
take care now.
Take care now. God bless. O.J. Simpson.
He's just got a very grandfatherly way about him. He's like Grandpa Simpson sitting underneath a lemon tree, dispensing wisdom and except for like, instead of like a few kids sitting around, it's like, 450,000 followers on Twitter. You get to see it.
Yeah, it's bizarre because I don't know. I remember doing a video when OJ was getting released from prison and just being like, oh man, this is terrible. This guy's definitely guilty as shit. And now I find myself enjoying watching his fucking football takes.
Okay, well, Brandon, I know. Okay, yeah, sure. Don't you think he served his time, though, for stealing memorabilia?
Well, for stealing memorabilia, yes. And was it breaking and entering?
Yeah.
Armed robbery? I forget all the charges there.
He was in jail for 10 whole years.
10 years in prison. I think there are people, like,
because
when you look
he stole his jersey back.
I think there are people who look at, like, okay, so I think it's unanimous. Not unanimous, but pretty much everybody, I think, believes O.J. Simpson committed murder.
I can think of 12 people who didn't.
Well, I think even some of them would change their mind today. Now,
definitely.
You can look at prison like you send people there as punishment, right? So in terms of punishment, if O.J. did do murder, 10 years, very short. But if prison is meant to curtail crime and protect us civilians, you have to ask, do you think O.J. Simpson is going to commit murder again? And based on Twitter and his videos, he does not seem like the type of guy who's going to commit murder again. So it is very, very interesting, Will.
Well,
while you finish your macaroni, I can keep talking about O.J.
Yeah, I know, very professional of me. Oh, I mean, he didn't seem like he was going to commit murder pre-1994, did he? So what's going to,
No, that's true. I mean, you never know when somebody's going to commit murder.
I didn't know pre-homicide OJ like you did. You grew up in a world where OJ was just the kind old man, not really old, just the kind former Bills running back who was on Naked Gun and the CBS halftime show and the sideline reporter and everything.
When I think of OJ, I think of sideline reporter. I think of SNL skits making fun of him as sideline reporter after he was arrested. And I think of Naked Gun and always finding OJ Simpson hilarious. Like the former football player is really funny in Naked Gun. But now what we were talking about last night was
now I think of him as a wise philosopher.
I think of him as like, oh, should I listen to First Take? No, I should just listen to OJ and get the truth. I should just go to OJ to get the real talk. You know what I mean?
And that's why we need to streamline that process and give him a show on ESPN or probably – I feel like FS1 would probably be the best network for him.
Probably the best home for him.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, the show, I think we talked about it, but we worked on a title, and it's The Squeeze with OJ Juice Simpson.
Yeah. So the reason OJ came up, though, is because he was, like we said, referenced the Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph thing. Basically, OJ was saying, like, this kind of shit happens in football games and practice, all this stuff. It's not that out of character, and that Garrett probably punished too harshly. Well, Garrett met with the NFL and then told the NFL Mason Rudolph used a racial slur, which is what prompted the fight between the two, which now basically just has people divided on whether or not they believe Myles Garrett or Mason Rudolph in this situation. The NFL didn't seem to buy Garrett's defense because they upheld his indefinite suspension, so he has to reapply to be instated in the league, meet with Roger Goodell. And then they also added an additional $45,000 fine to his indefinite suspension. Maurkice Pouncey had his suspension reduced by 1 game. I don't know how the NFL is kind of making all these decisions right now. But what I have gathered on Twitter is that nobody seems to believe Myles Garrett because he did not say Mason Rudolph made a racial slur right after the game.
Right. That's the whole thing. But also, I could see it both ways because if he goes out and says that right off the bat, then it also feels like he's just coming up with a really lame excuse at the moment to deflect. But I have a couple of thoughts on the matter, which is, first of all, he just said racial slur. He didn't say the one that you're thinking of specifically. So it'd be really funny if you just called him like the wrong racial slur. And I'm not going to go through a list of them, but
right, that's probably a smart idea.
I'll let you, the listener, use your imagination and plug in whichever one of your favorite racial slurs you'd like to plug in.
Myles Garrett complains to the NFL that Mason Rudolph didn't even use the right racial slur to offend him.
Called him a cracker. He called him a Mick. I'm allowed to say it.
You're allowed because I didn't even know Mick was a racial slur.
I think so. It's a pretty weak one, but
isn't it a TV show too? The Mick with Dee from It's Always Sunny.
Hey, dude. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, some racial slurs are not as sensitive as others.
They can be titles of entertainment programming.
Yeah. Imagine if we flipped the tables around on that one. No,
so I guess my question is, if somebody calls you a racial slur, when is the appropriate time to reveal that was said?
While you're still on the field, probably.
Yeah.
Okay, but another thing about this. How was not one of those players involved in this mic'd up?
Yeah, I mean,
we can figure this out pretty quickly.
That's what everybody's saying.
There were like a billion lip readers, and
even if it's not a player, mic'd up, I would imagine they have the parabolic mics on the sideline, the big satellite dishes, and I believe that's like what they cut to a lot of the times when you get those on-field quarterback sounds, or like when the defensive player is yelling something across the line and you hear it on TV accidentally. So the question is, do they keep all of those audio feeds, or are they gone because they don't actually make it into the broadcast? NFL Films, they're at a lot of games, so maybe they have something. You would imagine
someone must.
a couple things would happen in this situation. Mike Tomlin already came out and told his team, like, we know Mason Rudolph didn't say this. We need to move on and keep, playing as a team or whatever. But if Mason Rudolph did say it, it would probably piss off some of the guys on his own team. So that's something I would imagine would have come out possibly.
Right. And would Maurkice Pouncey have come to his defense so quickly because he would have heard it. He's in between Myles Garrett and Rudolph the whole time. I don't know.
But, you're in a loud stadium. Who knows what you heard on the field? But also maybe more of Myles Garrett's own teammates would have come forward and said, hey, he said some awful shit to him or whatever. Yeah. And now people are also saying Myles Garrett didn't say anything about it after. He said I believe during his post game, when they asked him if anything was said to instigate it, he said, go back and look. I'm not going to comment about it at this time. So I don't know. It looks like a last-ditch effort for Myles Garrett to try to hopefully have his suspension removed, but we don't know. I think it's just crazy that people are, I don't know, picking sides with believing there's a truth when we haven't been given that truth yet. So I think the more disturbing thing is the Patriots thinking about bringing back Antonio Brown. We thought our nightmare was over after one game. The Patriots are so worried about how shitty their offense is. Yeah. They are now reconsidering bringing back the player in the middle of a rape civil lawsuit, which Antonio Brown has now countersued his rape accuser. So he issued an apology on, Twitter and Instagram apologizing to Mr. Kraft, which I guess a bunch of Patriots players liked. This was a week after he told the NFL to fuck off. And now the Patriots realize they need some offense, probably to go to the distance in the Super Bowl. And he is really their only option. This just tells me that they're terrified of the Ravens that much. Yeah, they should be. I mean, Tom Brady's got 14 TDs to 5 picks this season. Mohamed Sanu has an ankle injury. He might be out for a few weeks. Philip Dorsett's in concussion protocol. Who even knows if he'll play? And they play the Cowboys this weekend, which I think is going to be a good game. As we know, the Cowboys will play a good team really well, and they will play a bad team very poorly. So they play to the level of their competition, which means I think this should be a good game. Yeah, it should be a very good game. Hopefully for us. But cover it. Somebody said the Patriots might win a Super Bowl this year in the same way the Broncos won in 2015 with the defense. And yeah, maybe. It's true. Except their offense is way better than that still. Yeah, except Tom Brady's playing a lot better than Peyton Manning was that year. And when remembering that season, watching Peyton, you're like, oh fuck, is his arm broken? Can he just not throw the ball anymore? Brady hasn't been as accurate. He's missed throws you're used to seeing him see, but for the most part, he still looks pretty decent out there as quarterback. They haven't been able to get things going, offensively, and their offensive line hasn't been great. There's been pressure, and they haven't been able to run the ball like they were able to last year. So I see why they would consider AB, but part of me wants them to take him because my best YouTube month ever was AB month back in August. Yeah, no, I say go ahead. Go for it. It's more money in my pockets. But I hope that they take him and he's there for a couple weeks, and then somehow he ends up not on the Patriots anymore before the playoffs. That's ideal. That's ideal for me. I feel like they might make a run at both AB and Gronk kind of simultaneously. Because it hasn't really been talked about how much his absence has affected this offense this year. Gronk's? Right. Because Ben Watson's just not, Ben Watson and Matt LaCosse are not quite equal to one healthy Gronk. In my opinion. You mean they're not equal to arguably the best tight end to ever play the game?
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say it. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair critique. I don't think Gronk's coming back. He's already committed to his Super Bowl party, Will.
I mean, the Patriots aren't making the Super Bowl. Who cares?
Bold prediction. Yeah, so why would he come back if they're not making the Super Bowl? Yeah, Gronk has till November 30th to make a final decision. But when you commit to a Miami Super Bowl party bash with a bunch of like DJs,
I imagine Pitbull will be there.
Yeah, I think
Alex Rodriguez.
DJ. There's people. I can't remember them now.
DJ Khaled or whoever.
DJ Will.
Don't tell them about my day job.
I would love it if I found out you were a DJ.
Speaking of DJs, DJ Chark is having a good season.
Man, we are so good at segues.
We are so goddamn good at this.
I need your honest answer. Did you think DJ Chark was a rookie?
Yeah.
He's not.
He could have fooled me. Did he play last year?
Yeah, he had 14 receptions last year.
Oh.
I called him a rookie on Twitter, and boy, did I pay for that pretty quickly. I could have sworn he was a rookie, but I found the stat that he's leading the league, or he's tied for this is just an overall interesting stat.
Yeah.
DJ Chark tied with Marvin Jones and Kenny Golladay as the reception touchdown leaders. So a second-year player for the Jags, and then two players for the Lions. All have 8 touchdown receptions.
Yeah, Marvin Jones got half of them in one game, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, Twitter's always you make the slightest mistake on Twitter and you'll never hear the end of it. Unfortunately.
I took it as a learning opportunity.
Sure.
Now I do want to talk about Phillip Rivers just for a minute here, because I got my video, my Is Rivers Washed video posted in the Chargers subreddit.
Oh man.
Because I said I didn't think he was washed ultimately. I said, like, rewatching his Monday night highlights. I'm not going to pretend like I rewatched the whole fucking game. But
all 22.
The thing with Phillip Rivers is, like, he can still play quarterback. He can still make most of the throws. He still puts his receivers and the offense in the right position pre-snap. What is happening, though, is in the final 2 to 5 minutes of every game, he is making the absolute worst decisions possible and just chucking deep ball after deep ball when he doesn't have that accuracy anymore. And I think, like, what I was basically saying is he needs to be coached out of that. And then I said, well, maybe Ken Wisenhunt was trying to coach him out of that, and that's why Ken Wisenhunt got fired. And then the Chargers are in a weird position where his contract is up, and they could try and draft his replacement. They also have a pretty viable backup option already in Tyrod Taylor, who –
yeah, he could be a bridge starter.
Tyrod could be a great bridge starter. The one thing, like, Tyrod has always done well is played pretty smart football.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like, we saw Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo and Cleveland.
Yeah.
You put the right guys around him, you know, he could be pretty good for a year, I think.
Yeah, so the Chargers are in an interesting spot. I think it's easy to say Rivers is done, but here's the other thing. Like, Rivers is but, like, what's happening is he's always made bad decisions late in games.
Yes, and he's always gotten a pass for it until apparently Monday night when the whole entire world plus Mexico was watching. Maybe it is just Mexico that has turned the tide of public opinion against Phil Rivers, the Felipe Rios, as they call him. But
Felipe Rios is that's a smooth sounding name.
It really is. I think the Chargers fans already use that, so I'm not going to take credit for it or anything.
No, I've never heard it. I like it.
But Yeah, I mean, this is something that you and I have talked about for a long time about how he for some reason never gets any of the blame when the Chargers play poorly, and
He is now.
he is now.
It only took 16 years or however long.
And people will still call him like a surefire Hall of Famer, which doesn't make the slightest bit of sense to me. He's an ultimate like stats guy who went to he squandered an incredible team, not just him, but he helped squander an incredible team in 2006. In my opinion, one of the most talented teams of all time in 2006 with LT the year he set the touchdown record.
LT, Gates in his prime. Is that when Vincent Jackson when he was hot?
Darren Sproles, Michael Turner.
Oh man, that running back group.
Yeah.
That is
Charlie.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Maybe the best ever.
I forget that Sproles was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable. Vincent Jackson, I want to say like Malcolm Floyd or Eric Parker or some of those guys were all pretty good. Brandon Maliuna, I think, was there.
Oh, the tight end.
So nice. They had to name him twice.
Maliuna or whatever.
Yeah, Sean Merriman was like the defensive player of the year. Anyway, they had a really good team. Couldn't get it done. Obviously, we know the story about him going to the AFC Championship game the next year against New England, where people sucked his dick for having a torn ACL in that game. To which I usually respond, what in the world would Phillip Rivers need an ACL for?
Right. He is not a mobile quarterback.
No. Yeah, it's one thing if Lamar Jackson's playing without an ACL, but Phillip Rivers, you could put him in a wheelchair and he'd still probably go 25 for 38. Honestly,
with the way Rivers throws the ball, he could throw probably pretty well sitting down from any part of the field.
Exactly.
Here's the thing.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah. You know what? I thought my observation of Austin Eckler playing his entire college career at an elevation higher than Mexico City, and that's why he was the secret weapon in the game, was a really solid observation.
Where did he play at Wyoming?
No, he played in Gunnison, Colorado, Western State College.
Oh, is that really higher than 7,000 feet?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
It's like, well, it's almost at 8,000 feet. So, and the only reason I know is like I go to Gunnison every summer. So, nice. And I thought about going to that college.
Is that where you train?
That's where I do my cardio training every summer. Yeah. Is about 8,000 or 9,000 feet, just in case I ever get called to run that $1 million high altitude marathon.
I walked up the stairs at the amphitheater at Red Rocks, and I was,
bet you got pretty winded.
I was on death's doorstep pretty much.
With Rivers, if the Chargers moved on from him, I'm not sure Rivers would go somewhere else to play football, because
I don't think he would either. I think he'd retire.
He's probably the most loyal quarterback in NFL history. Loyal to his team. He's been loyal to one woman his entire life. And
we know that.
He is a guy who I just can't imagine putting on another team's uniform just because he wants to prove he's still got it. But
right. I mean, the rumors are that he would play in Tennessee. But my question is, would Tennessee take him at this point over Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah.
Next year's Phillip Rivers over Ryan Tannehill. It's a question. It's a debate.
Yeah. I think there's more upside with Tannehill.
I do too. I think he's played pretty well this year.
A lot of people are already saying John Elway is looking at Phillip Rivers.
Okay. Alrighty.
That's the NFL news. Do we have anything Broncos related to discuss?
No, well, I mean, there's the whole Drew Lock thing still. If we want to talk
we'll see what happens with that. I think.
Yeah.
I thought Brandon Allen played decent against the Vikings.
I do too.
it looked like I would say he showed some improvement from his first to his second start.
They definitely opened up the playbook for him, and
yeah,
Scangarello looked like he was a lot more. He was able to be a lot more creative calling plays than he was with Flacco.
A little too creative, I might say.
Maybe, yeah. Just don't run any more tight end sweeps, for the love of fuck.
His answer every third and short was a tight end jet sweep or a sweep of jetting tight ends. And Cortland Sutton barely picked up one of those. Fant was tackled for a loss. It just seems like, I mean, people want to crucify Rich Scangarello, but it's like, I think a guy in his position needs time to learn the intuition of calling like a football game. So you have like all these creative plays, you have like this cerebral understanding of it. But what I think offensive coordinators have to learn is like which players to go to in certain situations and just kind of knowing that. And like, I think the thing that's puzzled me most of this season with the Broncos has been the lack of Royce Freeman in short situations. And the Broncos have been effective running the ball inside as well, too. It's not like they're a team that's only effective stretching the field for their running back. So it seems like there's just some of those things that the feel in game is where he can improve. But there was a lot that I was excited about in the play calling, and also getting Tim Patrick back on the field was nice. And I think Nikki Jabala pointed out the Broncos now are like the only team in the NFL with their number 1 and number 2 receiver as 6'4" wide receivers. So that is something to keep an eye on. Tall man just dominating deep down the field.
Big, lanky, a couple of tall glasses of water.
Mm-hmm.
I think tall drink of water. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what they say. Yeah, it was good to have Patrick back. He was making some contested catches. Deshaun Hamilton has not lived up to, I don't want to say the hype, but what we thought he could be this year. Really, in any way. They're going to have to draft someone in April, which honestly –
of course they are going to have to draft someone.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
To replace Hamilton? Is that what you mean?
No, not to replace Hamilton necessarily, but they need to draft a second wide receiver opposite of Sutton, most likely. Maybe Tim Patrick can fill in there, but I think you're going to want another guy. And I was going to say that it's a perfect year to do that because this is a historical wide receiver draft. You got 3 guys from Alabama alone that are going to go in the first round. It feels like you got a couple of guys. I don't know if they're both eligible, but from LSU. You got that guy from TCU, Clemson. You got guys everywhere. CeeDee Lamb from Oklahoma. Laviska Shenault from Colorado I think would be perfect, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that guy's good.
He's really good. He's a really good gadget player that I would actually run a sweep with.
Right.
Yeah.
I think what the Broncos need at wide receiver is a guy who is a precise route runner and also very fast. Very fast.
There's a lot of those guys in this draft.
Right now you look at like the Chiefs, their offense excels because they have a ton of speed. And even like the Ravens offense appears to play like its best football when Marquise Brown is on the field.
Yep.
And yeah, it feels like maybe that's kind of the one thing the Broncos offense is missing other than being able to score touchdowns in the fourth quarter or score more than 24 points. But that's a whole different conversation.
I hope. Yeah. What the hell was I going to say?
Was it wide receiver related?
Yeah, probably. Doesn't
college.
Matter. But no.
Which wide receiver makes his quarterback look better than he really is the most?
Out of those guys?
That's the guy I want.
Probably Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama.
Is he going to be the number one? He's the number 1 receiver, right? Most people think?
Most likely.
Close to it?
Most likely, yeah. Any of those guys, though.
Jerry Jeudy's cool name too.
It is, yeah. You got the alliteration. We need more alliteration in our offense.
Yeah.
But the thing is, okay, here's what I was going to say, is it would be nice to get Drew Lock on the field for the last 5 games so you could have a better feel for who you want to spend that first-round pick on.
Fair enough.
The upside, obviously, of losing after holding a 20-0 lead on the road to the Vikings is that it makes your draft pick a little bit better.
No, that's true.
They're going to be probably anywhere from 6 to 10, most likely, and they're going to have a lot of options.
Yeah, I mean, that's the silver lining, and it's so weird. Like, that loss sucked. That Vikings loss hurt.
It did.
And it hurt because, again, they had a chance to win it at the very end, and they just couldn't do it. Also, you can get angry at the referees, which has been a story in every Broncos close loss this season. But the thing that feels like that's confusing as a Broncos fan is the team is better than their record.
Yes.
And they also aren't, right? Like, your record is what it is because that's kind of the team you are. But, like, I feel better about this 3-6 Broncos team than I ever did the last 2 years when they were going through Simeon and Lynch and Osweiler, and we didn't feel like Vance Joseph was ever going to be the guy. It's like it feels like there's a positive air around the Broncos if you've been watching them, and it just sucks that it's like we're trying to just wait for them to continue to develop through this thing. And then there's also the question, like, even if they are really talented on defense and they continue to get better, it's not going to really matter until they find their answer at quarterback, which we still don't know yet. So
we don't. But what makes it different from the last 2 years, obviously, is that we have an idea that answer might be on the roster already.
Yeah,
and that's what I think is cause for optimism. Not to say that we know anything about him yet, because we don't. But the fact that we could be, one quarterback change away from that happening is it makes the season a lot easier to swallow.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's you got to have that hope there, and Drew Lock could be that guy. And there's still a small chance in 2 more weeks if Brandon Allen's still starting, he looks like the answer. Because he hasn't had a game yet where you go, oh, fuck, that guy can't be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, and I was impressed with him on the last drive of the game. I mean, I thought he made some pretty good throws on that last goal to go situation. Just didn't work out. I mean, obviously Tim Patrick got interfered with. You could argue the same thing.
Yeah.
But
what's impressive
he put the ball in good spots
is on that drive, he converted 2 4th and 6 plays.
Yeah.
And also in the loss to the Bears, Joe Flacco moved the team down the field and converted 2 4th down plays when they threw that final touchdown to Emmanuel Sanders to take the lead before they lost. So, like, the one thing we both agreed about this season that Flacco was really good in the clutch, if you can sit here and say, like, Brandon Allen looked pretty good in the clutch as well, I think that's a strong comparison to a quarterback who's been in the league for a long time that you can kind of do the same thing he did. Get your team in a position to win and then lose.
Right, and that interception before the half didn't really bother me as much as it probably did for other people, because I liked the aggressive mindset and saying, a 23-point lead is not going to do it against the Vikings, because ultimately it didn't. Or it wasn't going to. So you might as well put the pedal to the metal and try to score another touchdown before half. It just, didn't happen.
I think that's fair. The big criticism is when he ran for a first down and then did not clock the ball, and the Broncos got saved by Mike Zimmer.
Right, but that's something that's inexperience.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're going to criticize something on that drive, I mean, and the Broncos still got, 3 shots into the end zone? So
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
But, yeah. That's it. That's all we'll say.
We've decided he's our franchise quarterback. All
Brandon
right,
Allen.
so we've got some games to pick before we get out of here.
Let's do the game picks.
Okay, let's jump into it. Tonight, Thursday night, good game. Like this one. It's the Colts at the Houston Texans, who just got their shit rocked by Baltimore, but they're still favored by 3.5. This one will go a long way towards deciding the AFC South division. Who do you have in this one?
This is tricky. The Texans do get Will Fuller back, which I think makes a difference.
It does.
This is really hard for me because
Will Fuller would be nice for the Broncos offense, by the way.
Oh.
I don't think he's a free agent, though.
No. I think he has another year before that. It's like 2 quarterbacks I'm really rooting for are Jacoby and Deshaun Watson. And I root for them for different reasons. I like the Brissett story, and I just think Deshaun Watson's really, really good. I feel like the Colts have kind of had the Texans' number recently, and I think the Texans' issue is their defense. So I'm going to take Indy.
I'm going to take Houston because they're at home on a short week.
I was just going to say you're going to throw that in my face, aren't you?
That's my reasoning. That's always my reasoning. All right, we've got a dandy here on Sunday. Miami at Cleveland. No Myles Garrett. No Larry Ogunjobi. They're still favored by 10.5 at home.
Man, I'll take the Browns, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Browns as well. Maybe not to cover, but I will take the Browns.
Yeah, I don't think to cover. It feels like Miami's got to lose out.
That's a lot, yeah. They better. They really better. You got to get Josh Rosen back in the lineup. Okay, Denver at Buffalo. Our game of the week. Buffalo favored by 4 at home. Not really that much when you consider this is a 3-7 team playing a 7-3 team on the road. But I think Vegas knows that the Broncos tend to keep it close.
As do the Bills.
As do the Bills. This could be a low-scoring game.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of defense in this game.
I'm going to take the Bills.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Broncos.
Okay. This is a big week for us.
Oh, I mean, we've got Allen versus Allen, too. Good Lord.
The Allen Bowl. Yeah.
That'll be fun to make dumb jokes about in the Broncos prediction episode. Okay, Allen Bowl. Yeah, I'll take Denver. I think they're gonna unify after a bad loss.
Okay, I hope so. We've got some Tim Allen jokes to make, I think, and Bills could use a little home improvement. All right, Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. Pittsburgh, they're without Maurkice Pouncey. That's pretty much it. Mason Rudolph's his wallet's going to be a little lighter, but at the same time, he might have motivated several members of the Bengals defense in the process. And Cincinnati is giving 6.5 at home. They are still winless. Do you think they have a chance to go 0-16?
Oh, yeah, they have a very good chance to go 0-16.
They made it interesting against the Raiders.
Yeah, they did. Also, the Steelers are probably going to be without Juju Smith-Schuster. So,
right.
And James Conner isn't practicing yet, so he'll probably be like a game-time decision. And Mason Rudolph, despite everything that happened, on that final play or whatever, he played like shit in that game against the Browns.
He really did. That was honestly – it couldn't have been better timing for him to get just bashed in the head with a helmet.
Yeah, hopefully to help him forget how bad he played in that game.
Yeah, it was good. It was bad, neurologically speaking, but it was good from a public relations standpoint.
Yeah, nobody was talking about his poor play. I think Pittsburgh will win this game, and I think the Bengals might actually keep this one close as well. But I don't trust Ryan Finley, quarterback, to get a win against the Steelers.
Oh, really? Because I do. I'm taking the Bengals.
Ooh, upset of the week. All right.
Okay. Got the Giants.
God, there's a lot of bad games early.
No kidding. Did I might screw that up. Okay, we'll say this is correct. The Giants at the Chicago Bears. Bears favored by 6. I don't think the Bears are going to score 6. Do we know that, let alone 6 more points than the other team?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, we keep watching Mitch Trubisky not play well. You've got the Giants, who are going to be without Saquon Barkley? Is he done for the season?
I do not know the answer to that question.
He was not at Wednesday's practice.
Let's assume he won't play.
Yeah, I don't know. I see why Chicago might be favored. But go ahead.
We don't know who's playing quarterback. Does it matter? Probably not.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Giants. I think Daniel Jones needs a win. He needs a performance.
He does, but I think the Bears defense will bounce back and kind of carry the load for him. Okay, we've got Oakland I wrote the Giants, but I'm assuming that I meant the Jets here. Let's go with that. Oakland is favored on the road by 2.5 points. Not a lot of respect for a
6-4 team versus the Jets.
6-4 team that's on their way to, could come down to the wire in the AFC West. They had kind of a letdown game against the Bengals, but I think the impressive part was that they were still able to put it away pretty safely at the end. This is a good Raiders team. It's a team that makes sense. They throw short and they hand the ball to Josh Jacobs and they play mediocre defense.
Yeah, their defense has a chance to be, I think, pretty good next year. Jonathan, is it Abram or Abrams?
I think it's Abrams.
Jonathan Abrams, the rookie who is on IR, looked like he was going to be a big difference maker for their defense early in this season before he got hurt.
Season lasted,
it's a
one
game?
and a half quarters.
1.5. But he was playing crazy football.
He was, yeah. He looks. I don't know if he works in today's NFL, but sure, yeah.
But I'm saying, I think you have him. Max Crosby is emerging as.
Max Crosby had 4 sacks against the Bengals.
Yeah, and
it is the Bengals, but 4 sacks is 4 sacks unless it's Michael Schofield.
Yeah, I think it's 6.5 on the season.
But Cleveland Farrell is playing better.
Yeah, and hitting with Josh Jacobs, and like you pointed out, Hunter Renfrow is starting to play well.
All of their rookies played well. Foster Moreau had his 5th touchdown of the season. Hunter Renfrow played well. Pretty much everyone. So
it's like the Broncos, a young team, developing, but they're getting the wins. And it sucks to say it, but I think they might be pretty good next year. This year, I think every week's going to be a kind of a coin flip whether or not they're going to win. But I'll take them to beat the Jets.
I will too. Okay, we can probably speed through these next 3. Okay, Carolina at New Orleans. I think it's starting to unravel here for Carolina. I'm going to take the Saints at home.
Yeah, whether Saints are 9.5-point favorites. Kyle Allen starting to look like a young guy who doesn't know how to play quarterback.
Who lasts longer, Brandon Allen or Kyle Allen?
Ooh, that is like a whole topic to spend 10 minutes on.
I know what you mean.
God, that's a really good question. Probably Kyle Allen.
I would take Brandon.
Okay.
I think we'll see Will Grier soon.
Oh, shit. That's right. I forgot they drafted Will Grier. But I'm going to take the Saints too.
Okay. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons all of a sudden favored by 4.5. I'm going to take the Buccaneers, though.
Ooh. I'm going to take the Falcons. I like their defense is playing really well, and that allows their good offense to score the points and keep the points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't think you lose points in the NFL, but yeah.
They keep them.
Detroit at the Washington R words. Detroit favored by 3.5. I don't really know if Stafford's playing or not, or we're getting another week of Jeff Driscoll. Don't think it matters. I will take the Lions.
Yeah, I'll take the Lions too.
Okay, Seattle at Philadelphia. This is a good game. Philadelphia, kind of surprisingly, favored by 1.5 at home.
That is interesting.
The 2-loss Seahawks. Philadelphia could not move the ball against the Patriots. That was a really winnable game, and they just couldn't put anything together on offense. Had a chance there at the end. I don't know if you'd call that play by Nelson Aguilar a drop or just a really, really tough catch that he couldn't make. But they're 2 plays, I think, away from having 2 more wins, 2 Aguilar plays.
Yeah. Are you going to take Philly?
No, I'm going to take the Seahawks.
What Philadelphia struggled to do was protect Carson Wentz. And Seattle's coming off their bye week, right? And the last time we saw them play, it looked like they finally got their pass rush going. I think that will cause some problems for Carson Wentz, and I will take the Seahawks as well.
Agreed. Okay, Jacksonville at Tennessee, who's favored by 3 points. My question about the Jaguars, are you familiar with Bill Simmons' Ewing theory?
Mm-mm.
Where sometimes when you take away like the best player or one of the best players on the team, kind of one of the prominent starters, it causes the rest of the team to get tighter and actually be better without that player.
Interesting.
It's kind of a roundabout way of explaining it, but I think that could have explained the Jaguars' season so far. Losing Nick Foles kind of made them rally around Gardner Minshew, and now benching Minshew for Foles is creating this reverse Ewing theory.
So they're back to playing kind of sloppy football.
Yes. Not that they weren't for stretches during the Minshew era, but, I think they should have stuck with their guy, with their rookie.
Yeah, maybe. I mean –
it was just one game. We'll see. Who knows? They haven't given up on him.
This is a game between 2 teams that every other week you could be like, oh, they might be pretty good, or oh, they might be pretty bad.
This is one of those things where you're like, don't these 2 teams play like every week?
It's always the Jags Titans.
Yeah.
Tennessee is at 500, 5-5 record. At home, I think Nick Foles is going to get something going. I'm going to take the Jags.
Okay, I'm going to take the Titans. Dallas at New England. Let me just say this. I will take the Cowboys.
Ooh, I was going to take the Cowboys too.
Let's do it. Let's lock it up.
Locking it up. We're taking Dallas.
Sponsored by Lock It Up, the segment that's brought to you by Blue Chew.
No, Simply Safe.
Oh, right.
See?
There you go.
Patriots are favored by 6.5, and the Patriots are at home.
Hard, try Blue Chew. Sorry, go ahead.
The Cowboys will win this game, which will force the Patriots to sign Antonio Brown. There's my bold prediction of the week.
Wow. Yikes.
Yikes.
If we ever get Drew Lock on this podcast, I think we could do a lot of things with our 2 last names.
Lock and Keys. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. I think he'd have to come on.
That's a solid just weekly segment.
I'm going to unlock him.
Keys, unlock. Yeah.
Yeah. It's perfect. All right.
You know what sucks is the first Dallas game I would like to see in primetime isn't fucking in primetime.
Yeah, what the fuck? It's okay. We got it's going to be like the one afternoon game, I'm sure.
Sunday night's going to be good. Packers, 49ers. That's a solid game.
It is, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to this. It feels like the 49ers have played at home 10,000 times this season. But I actually like the Packers.
Yeah, the Niners are heading into their tough stretch of tests. They kept it close against the Cardinals, which I just learned the Cardinals have one of the top 7 most efficient offenses in the NFL. A little more, they score a little more often than the 49ers actually do.
They score more than you and I.
Yeah, and I'm married, so
yeah.
That's no surprise. The Green Bay Packers, off of a bye, Aaron Rodgers, ready to kick it into that extra Aaron Rodgers gear that we will all pretend like he has. I'm going to take the Packers too.
Great. Last game of the week. It's a pretty entertaining one as well.
Wait, who do you think has a better day with their running backs, Packers or 49ers?
Take the Packers.
I was too, so no debate there. Aaron Jones might have a big day.
Williams and
but the Niners should be getting George Kittle back. So,
ooh, that's right.
Him and Sanders back on the field at the same time.
That is a huge part of their offense. They might still be undefeated. Although, what's his name? Ross Dwelly came in and caught 2 touchdowns. So it begs the question if George Kittle is actually a system tight end.
We already used that joke, Will.
God damn it.
You already wrote me that joke, and I claimed it as my own in the episode. I own that joke based on the non-disclosure.
That is my intellectual property, and just know that you'll be hearing from someone who claims to be my lawyer.
No, this is a solid joke, though. But we'll both stick with the Packers, right?
Yeah, okay. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. Pretty decent.
Ravens
at Rams. The Marcus Peters Bowl, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, Peters has been perfect since arriving in Baltimore.
Pretty good. 2 touchdowns.
2 TDs. Ravens defense looks good. Ravens offense looks good.
Ravens special teams looks good.
Everything looks good in Baltimore.
Things are looking
and that's why I'm taking Baltimore. I'm
actually going to take the Rams here.
Ooh, you are really trying to get ahead of me in these picks.
I need to. Yeah. This is, like I said, this is the storyline of the season. Is us jostling back and forth for pick supremacy.
Yeah, this is a big game for the Rams.
It is. Yeah, this might be playoffs or bust here in a tough NFC.
I think it'll be a close game, but we're not going to bet against Baltimore anymore.
No, how could you?
I am on that bandwagon.
Okay.
The only way I will get off of it is if they lose to the Patriots in the playoffs.
That would be really disappointing.
Oh, I would hate that.
We need them to get home field advantage. We really do. Yeah.
So Dallas, Will and I will be rooting for you like we never have before.
Yeah, seriously. That was kind of our thing though before the season, is we were supposed to hate the Cowboys.
Yeah, they got voted to be the team we always shit on no matter what.
Which we kind of still do, just not on purpose though. Not with that in mind.
Yeah, Cowboys are just a weird team like that. Doesn't matter what they do, a lot of people are not gonna like them.
Yep. All right. Well, those are our picks.
Those are our picks. This was our podcast. These are simple statements that are true.